Good morning and welcome again to Summit. It's Monday and it's also Easter Monday. So I say happy Easter Monday to all our Christian people out there who are celebrating. It's a very beautiful day, it's a calm day, and I love driving in Lagos on days like this. Everywhere is so peaceful. Well, it doesn't stop us from discussing national issues this morning. So you are welcome to the program. My name is Jumoke Michael Banji.
Jumoke, it's nice to be here.
Yeah.
I know that when you leave here, you'll be heading towards Galilee.
You know.
I mean, to catch a lot of fun. People are already out there catching fun. I say, happy Easter celebrations to Christian viewers across the globe. And I say the message, just as the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said yesterday, that Easter preaches a message of hope from poverty to prosperity, insecurity to security, and so many other good things. We pray that this Easter will bring a lot of hope to all of us in this country. My name is Banji Busari.
All right, so on the program this morning, we'll be looking at two critical national issues. And the first one will be the anti-corruption fight, the pardon for Dariye and Nyame. And then the second topic will be on insecurity and the resumption of train services. We all know that last week, Thursday, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari pardoned two former governors and 157 others from prison custody. The two governors, Mr. Dariye, the former governor of Plateau State, and Mr. Nyame, the former governor of Taraba State, were convicted for stealing and mismanaging state funds while they were governors in their states, but they were granted pardon. Well, that's the first discussion this morning, and we have joining us Mr. Razak Ulukoba, a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
At least we can greet you Kwawe.
Yes, so I join you greeting our brothers and sisters. Happy Easter.
Yeah, thank you.
The anti-corruption crusade is one of the what I may call hallmark of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. It's an administration that has prided itself in a strong fight against corruption, and each time is giving account of stewardship. The administration will reel out so many convictions, so many prosecutions, and those are actually cooling their heels in the prison and all that. Amongst the victims of this crusade, that's those that have actually been convicted, include the names mentioned by Jumoke. Now, the questions on the lips of Nigerians this morning is, what's the justification for actually granting them pardon when they are also actually supposed to serve their jail term, to the end, so that it will serve as deterrent to many others who have tendencies to pilfer or to steal public funds?
We have not seen the complete list of the people who were pardoned, so that we will be able to understand the spread. Public office holders, people in the private sectors, and all of that, because it's not just two persons, it's many. There are no clear principles that guide pardon to say that these are the categories of it that we have to pardon. There's no clear principle that guide it. But in most cases, it's to send a particular message to Nigerians that people who were misjudged, the fact that the public opinion still feels that they make the list of people who are supposed to pardon in most cases. So also people who have served their time and the type of sentence they have didn't merit the kind of punishment that they are getting, also make the list at time. So, this assessment or suggestions by people, when you look at why do people get pardon, those are the kind of things that we think that inspire pardon from people. And it's not only in Nigeria they do that, it's a global thing. But any pardon that will be a setback to whatever program that government is pursuing. It's not a good one. And that is in the light that many Nigerians have seen Paddy of Dariye and Jolly. I mean, it is not good. It doesn't go down well with many Nigerians, particularly at the time when we felt that we should have more convention of public office holders, because it's not improving. Corruption is not seems to be improving. We are not holding any government responsible for that, but we are saying that at this time again, in Nigeria again, the rate of corruption seems to increase more, and we have emphasized it that the molded practice in Nigeria itself is indulging. It creates an opportunity for people to put your hand into public office holder, because you cannot hold your president, your governors, your chairman accountable with this kind of structure. And what do I mean by that? It gives the opportunity to put their hand in so many that ordinarily is not their business. For instance, the president is responsible for so many things that there's no time for him to follow up. He appoints ministers, head of security services, even in elections, is responsible for it. So all these things does not give a nation that practices this kind of system the opportunity to actually protect your money very well. So what we had expected is to start looking at why do people steal public money in Nigeria. And the reason is simple, is because of what I've mentioned. So as a result of that, there's a need to reduce the responsibility of, number one, of all the institutions in Nigeria, be it the president, the governor, and the chairman. The president has his hand in so many things in Nigeria. He needs to devolve power to state. When a state feels that this individual cannot hold any public office, the federal institution promotes him against the interests of the state. What do I mean by that? For instance, let us take the NDDC. The due consultation that the federal government must have with each state that has as a member, they don't do that. What they do is to appoint someone that can serve the interest of the federal government, not the interest of the. And in most cases, those kind of people don't defer to states. They only take instruction. And if you run your state like that, it has a tendency, and that's what led to the Kansarowa's crisis between the Abuja 11 and Kansarowa 7. They were relating with Abuja. And the people at home said that you are relating with Abuja, there are peculiarities of things that we need on ground there. And that was what led to that crisis. So until such a time that we address the imbalances in the structure, we should devolve power, let states be in firm control of their resources. The federal government should not be the one spending resources that belong to the state again. If you continue to do that, for instance, at the end of every 30 days, federal government divide the money from oil to 36 and give the state governors. You should know very well that the money where the money comes from, or Moragan, people of citizens of each state don't hold the money. Can't hold the governors accountable because it's coming from federal government. But when you allow states to control their own resources, you take our money, you mine our gold, you take our oil, and in our presence you spend the money the way you like. It can't happen. But when you keep giving money to states from Abuja, you keep money given to local government directly, you cut away the state government, this is the result of such a thing. Now, coming to the pardon itself, the danger of what has happened is just one. We are just discussing the moral decadence, ritual killings, and things like that. You are sending a bad message to the younger ones that hard work can't get you anywhere in Nigeria. Just lay your hand into public office and spend 2 years and go back to your 100 billion that you have kept aside for yourself.
Spend 2 years in the prison.
In the prison and go back to your 100 billion that you have stolen. So, for a nation that is battling with this kind of issues, it is not good for us. And the earlier we realize the danger we are putting ourselves in doing so, the better. Because right now, I don't know the kind of oratory partners that you have to talk to, gather under you together and try to interrogate them. What's your view about empowerment? What's your view about the kind you want to do with your life? You'll be shocked. That is not far away from senators who have embezzled money, governors who have embezzled money. They are their role models. And why? Because there is no consequence for people who have stolen our money. The only thing close to consequence is what we have seen now. And this is not consequence. So I don't think this kind of thing should repeat itself again. The time for us not to pardon is now. The time for us to increase the punishment of people who have stolen our public fund. Why do you think ASUs are making noise? It's not because they don't want education to be good in Nigeria. It's because they are saying that the money for, which is part of the institution, the money for education will go to 36 states of the federation. You divide in 36 again from the budget. It will go to state parliament, the committee on education. Senators will take their own committee on education. House of Reps will take them. You have several agencies on education. College of Education, university, polytechnic. By the time the money will get to the universities, it will amount to only paying salaries of lecturers. And they are saying that, no, we cannot continue like this. So when you see this kind of situation in Nigeria, and the only thing you think you should do is for people who put anti-pardon them again, you are not sending a good message to the youth. You are not sending a good message to institutions like ASU, that money that is meant for us to train our children, someone took it, and after 2 years, and I know, I'm convinced that these individuals didn't stay in the regular series. That's the tradition in all our principles. It's an executive set where they were taking it. So it's just it's about 2 years sabbatical that they have gone for, and they came out looking fresh again, and pardon again, and to continue to run for offices again and continue your regular life. It's not, and what has happened is also to tell you that when they were convicted that time, we should all know that is a vendetta.
Okay.
Because as at the time they were convicted, there were several allegations, not only on all those two governors. There were several allegations, and before you know what is happening, the only people who find on board were Dolly Yami and
Darie.
So maybe the misunderstanding has been sorted out, and that's why they have to do this. So the whole picture is not a good one, and the most appropriate thing for us to do now is to look back and see something is wrong with our nation.
Let's, apart from the moral implications of the pardon, let's look at, since EFCC went into this prosecution, billions of naira, I believe, must have been sunk into the judicial process, trying to to make sure that they are convicted.
It's 10 years.
Now,
10 years.
Yes, 10 years. Now, if you look at this humongous amount that could have been used to take care of maybe ASU's 2009 agreement and some other needs of our institutions, do you not think that this is one of the reasons why Nigerians say there's a lot of waste in the system? I mean, judicially now, the monies have been spent. What results have come out of it? So, do you not see this as a kind of a drain pipe, producing so much, hard-earned resources?
And dampening even the morale of the...
Yes, even the money for
prosecution,
agencies like EFCC and similar agencies like security institutions are money that you don't almost account for it, because no matter what you are going to spend to make a point in ensuring that you uphold your moral in a society, it's not a waste. But it becomes a waste what has happened now. So, like I've said, there's a need for us as a nation to look back and think whether we want to have our country back or we want to continue in this manner. And if we want to continue in this manner, it may not be good for Nigeria, because our country is being surrendered to people who don't have the love of our people. And for instance, Look at the security institutions now. If care is not taken, a time is coming where people will not relate with the conventional security institutions again. If you want to do anything, you go and talk to the bandits. You go and go talk to the kidnappers. If you want to pass a particular route, it's coming to that if care is not taken. Now, what has also happened too again, we will end up submitting our country, our nation, to people who are controlling it in this manner, that if you want to survive in public office, you must talk to us. And if we don't talk to you, we will do what we have done to Dariye for you. But by when you get to them, then your lesson will bring you back again. And that's the picture of what has happened now. So if the president knows that, if we are telling him now, that's a picture of what has happened. The government there's a picture as if the government has been taken over by this set of people. And they are pushing the government to the direction that they want. What we must do as a people is to first clamor for our political model. We have to work on our political model and economic model, which was what led us to where we are today. After 1966, we put a model up where you divide the money into 36 states of the federation, and you do not attach any responsibility to that money. Spend the money the way you like. And it creates employment when they're not created. You didn't invest the money in any state. There's Agro-Allied, there's telecom, there's origin, where countries in the world have their own. That's origin. They have their shipping line. You don't do that. You don't even mind your resources. And the states spend the money they like, they don't start creating them. Because in a nation, at least 60 to 70% of your working population should be engaged. We didn't even do the deficit on federal employment, and it got to the point where we find ourselves today. So if we don't rework this model, we may continue like that. Our country may be taken over, and it's been taken over gradually by this set of people. And if we get to that point, that is bye-bye to Nigeria. I'm not saying that Nigeria is going to break up.
God forbid.
But it's not God forbid. It's not God forbid.
It goes beyond prayers.
It goes beyond, because what God has not done for Muhammad and Christ, He can't do it for Nigerians. God has told us, this is me, I will do this is spiritual, but this is physical. When we are talking about intellectual, the sale of intellectual properties in the world, people who sell in the medicine line, they're a country that if you want the best medical, go to certain country. Israel is one of the countries in the world where you have armament of war for sale. Trained country, it's Israeli trained. That's sale of intellectual properties. It's not big. They didn't say because they are Christian, head of Christian institution in the world, and they now say that let's continue to pray. The highest number of Christians, Muslims in the world is in Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nigeria is the fifth. In the world is Christian in the world is America. After America, it goes like that, about China, and things like that. They know, they understand Christianity, understand to a point where you say that this is God. This is what God said we should do. So, when we don't do the right thing, this is the result we are going to have. Wrong economic model, wrong political model has led us to where we are today. So, we must rework it. The kind of pardon that we need in Nigeria is for people who is not even clear about what they have done, the crime that they have committed. And they have spent 10 years in prison. They have another 5 years to spend. Those are the kind of people we want to find in the list. People who are just wanderers. People who stole goats and were identified because they stole gold because they're actually hungry. People who stole a cup of gari and it's been identified, investigated and discovered that he was truly hungry and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. They have spent 5 years, they pardon him. These are the kind of people we want to see on that list, to go and rework their life. Not people who have done this kind of thing.
Did you even see the reason for the pardon? Did you read the reason for the pardon? That's really what caught my attention in all of that. The reason for the pardon was their age and health. In spite of the humongous charges against this people, one of 1.6 billion naira, the other one was I think 1.3 or 1.4 billion naira. And then you pardon them based on their age and health issues. One of them is 60, Dariye is 64 and Inyame is 66. So what's the politics with that?
It's not there's no way we look at it. If that
Because
is
the
the
reason for the pardon for me is
if that
it's
is
quite
the
light.
if that is the reason,
Light.
almost all the people who are in prison today should be free, should be pardoned. Because once we get to any of the facilities in Nigeria today, we'll be caught up with one kind of ailment or the other. There is no, even people who answer have ailment. So in there, over 90% of the people in any of the facilities in Nigeria have one kind of sickness or the other because of the condition they live in. So that means they should be pardoned too. There's no excuse for what the government has done. There's no excuse for it. 2003 is fast approaching, and you are giving people the opportunity to bring the two together. Maybe there's a calculation. 2023 with what is happening. That's not good for us as a
Gary
nation.
has purchased senatorial form.
That's what I'm saying. That's not good for us.
Immediately he came out, he purchased
That is
senatorial
not
form.
good for us as a nation. That's not good for us as a nation. We are not doing anything about the mind of the younger people that are committed Nigerians. I know you pay your tax. I know all of you pay your tax. I know that compulsorily all the people take salary to pay their tax. So it is not a thing of joy when you see people who have mismanaged the tax you pay, the education tax you pay, all sort of tax you pay, and someone took it with his family and spent it recklessly without justification. And after spending a sabbatical, 2 years sabbatical in one facility, came out, are you compensating with by becoming a senator again? What message are you sending to the young people? And what message are you sending to the rest of the world that Nigeria is a peculiar case? When people say that the 7th most populated country in the world is being run like this, that means we are a burden to us. Africa must work, and when Africa must work, Nigeria must work. So when one of the great continents in the world is not working as a result of examples other countries are seeing about Nigeria, that means the rest of the world will be bothered about us, and they are truly bothered. And that's why anywhere you travel to, when you see they say your green passport, there's always a third line. The nationals, other nationals of the world, it's the Nigerian line. It's a special case for if you don't suspect you on based on terrorism, they suspect you, maybe you are doing money laundering, they suspect you. Even after coronavirus, I have not been able to leave Nigeria. Go to Cotonou here. The respect is there. There's nothing responsible for it than this kind of thing. They say that in your country, all sorts of things happen. A Saudi diplomat has told someone close to the aid of Buhari, who now told us that in your country, strange things happen. Someone stole your money, and you are still battling with whether what you should do with it. By now, his name will be rotting in the grave pit of Saudi Arabia. That's a religious country. But in our own country, it's not like that. So the picture of what is happening is not good, and our guys in government should know the danger of what is happening. That certain institutions, organizations, may eventually take over the government. And if you don't concede to them, the punishment is what they will do, whatever they like with you. And we are seeing the picture. Look at the security situation in the country. Deliberately, people are not looking at the direction where there's the solution. El-Rufai is part of the problem. We have been engaging him on social media, on TV, on media, even physically, that join the advocacy for a new layer of security in Nigeria. Create an environment for Nigeria to also be empowered, to be armed. That's what they do all over the world. State police will give ordinary Nigerians an opportunity to localize the security of their life. Instead of training 1 million of Kaduna State youth, we're talking about machinery. So that's why I'm saying people do this cautiously, because it sounds to me deliberately. When we say that the way out of where we find ourselves, it's not by bringing me an Olokoba to Enugu to go and become a police officer, or bringing an Igbo man to North to go and become. It can't work like that. Our police will spend so much money to train them. They are too sophisticated. It's like you are asking a pilot to be driving a tricycle. That's exactly when you have Nigerian police to see to all the security challenges in the country. And you know very well that even if you have forest police, you must have forest police, you must have trained police, you must have transport police, you must have all sorts of security, layer by layer by layer. It is not
only Nigerian police and the civil defense, you are giving them a tax. They can't perform. Not because they are not up to, but it sounds somehow. So, if what the guys are doing this to us appears to me as if they are doing it deliberately.
All right, let's.
That they came in and came out again, looking fresh, looking good.
Urge Okalu to
Urge
find a way
Okalu.
to.
They went in and came out again, looking good, looking nice. These are not good things.
All right, so let's look at.
Someone went to pray, was jailed in London. We were able to go send him to jail in Nigeria, and Ogidi Gogo was of Eduabi, and he came back. We pardoned him again. Alamesha before he died, we pardoned him again. That is not a good thing for us as a people. We are not teaching our children anything, any level of morality. We are not teaching. So what's your question? When you get to those facilities that Johnny Hammer and you arrest a ritual killer and take him there, what moral lesson do you want to give some people?
All right, let's look at the side of the judiciary in all this. You know, we used to say that the judiciary was not promoting the fight against corruption. That's what people say. Now, but with this that has come to light now,
there's an barbarian influence of the executive.
What would you say about the judiciary?
There's a barbarian influence of the executive over the judiciary, and they have to be completely independent. If they are not completely independent, why the appointment of certain officers for the judiciary? There are two things: Minister of Judiciary and the judicial institution itself. The interaction between them, there's no independence. And that's why the Inspector General of Police, as long as it's an appointee of the president, you can't have a proper police in Nigeria. The police must go through rank and file and become
even the Attorney General,
so,
the
that's what I'm saying.
of the Federation
Yes.
are all appointed.
Yeah, so as long as we have this kind of situation where you don't allow the judges, judiciary to go through rank and file, political office holder will continue to have influence on them and go to rub off on the court system, judicial system. The judgment we are going to be having is going to be influenced. And that's why you still see many former public office holders still have influence on so many judges today in Nigeria. They have influence on them. So as long as it comes back to the structure we were talking about, that the political model, there's something wrong with it. And people who are opposed to it are part of our enemy. All the people who are opposed to state police, local police, all the people who are opposed to devolution of power in Nigeria, and all who felt that the structures, judicial institutions in the country today, the relations we have with the executive is normal. They are part of our enemy. So, and as long as we have it this way, we are going to get it right. And that's why it's our decision as a people that do we want to continue like this? If we do not want to continue like this, you should not. If we want to continue, we should not expect different results. We should not be lamenting about why is our country like this again. There's no way we can get different results from what the institution in place today. There's no way.
Because we don't react to any of these things. We just take them as they come.
What I'm saying is that the institution in place today, we will continue to record increasing decadence. We should not expect something that things will get better. When Obasanjo was there, before he left office, this is the picture. This is the name we are calling Buhari now is what the name we are calling that time. When Jonathan came to, this is the name we are calling Jonathan before he left. And 4 years after Buhari said, we won that. Mr. President, before you leave office, remember those names that were called Obasanjo and Jonathan. The same name you will be called. Not because Nigerians hate you, but because the structure will plot you against them. When you have this kind of responsibility, we are on security, you are the one who call. On essay, you are the one who call. Everything, you are the one who call. Go and notice down that by the time you be leaving office, the country will be plotted against you based on this structure. So if we think that another president is coming to use this same structure to achieve something better for us, we are deceiving ourselves. So the ball is in our court. There is nothing that will be different from what is happening now. If another president comes, nothing will be different.
I was going to that.
Yes.
I was going to that because from the picture you have actually painted so far now, this monster called corruption has defied any form of solution. Now, if you read, I don't know if you read Reverend Martin Kuka's Easter message.
Yeah.
He said that all institutions in Nigeria are broken. Like the only
Because they are
institution,
weak.
they are weak. The only institution that has remained unbroken is corruption.
Yes.
Now corruption has remained unbroken in Nigeria and is getting stronger and stronger. Now as we look forward to 2023, maybe I'll probably need to take your discussion further by hazarding a guess. Who amongst these presidential candidates, aspirants so far, has the courage to actually take the corruption fight beyond what Buhari has achieved so far? Because it's almost a mirage that Buhari has the capacity to fight corruption.
Let me tell you something. Since we have returned to democracy, starting from Obasanjo to Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, up until all the candidates that are out now, they are verified. But there is nothing they can do with the structure. If your car is bad, no matter how good is your driver, you are not going to have a good job. Your tire is bad, your engine is faulty, the air perforator, everything is the radiator is not working.
So you're talking about restructuring?
Yes, if it is this same structure, no matter who is going to come on board.
What magic?
There's no magic. There's no
it's
magic.
not likely to happen before 2023.
Look at America as a nation now. We have strong president among them. We have people who have strong character. Even if I have Bush, if you look at the assessment people say about Bush, in a way they say he's not intellectually, he's not as vibrant as other, but the institution protected him. He didn't fail.
Bush.
Yes, the son.
The son.
Now, look at Trump and Trump. As much as he had wanted to promote certain laws, certain policy, or run certain program, he was prevented by the institution that is on board, political structure. They didn't allow to do that because they are strong institution. So in Nigeria, you see, Obasanjo is brilliant. Jonathan is brilliant, doctor. He's brilliant. But the structure always mess them up. And look at what is incorruptible. I hold him responsible for what is happening to us today because he has refused to restructure Nigeria. But his profile is intact, it's okay, it's fine. Now, let's now come to all the people that have come out now. This is about the luckiest time there will ever be. Obasanjo, a former military. So it's a danger bringing him in former military to come out with us. What is it's a danger. But if we had a proper structure, they will succeed. Now, this time, look at Tinubu, a two-time governor. He has been a senator before. Look at the model he established in Lagos, taking the IGR from 500 million to what it is today. That's brilliant. It's excellent. Then Oshibaji, a VP, a vice president. The only time alliances has worked in this country is now. Between the Hausa and Igbo led to civil war. Jonathan, the Jaw and the North, Johnson led to civil war. This is about the only time that we are not talking about war between the two people who are in alliance. The North, the Jaw and the people and the Northern brothers were almost at war before Jonathan left office. But this time around, so we should give kudos to Yemi Osinbajo. Then other people that are also coming up, like Fayemi.
He has not declared, so maybe he should leave his name
speculation,
out.
all the speculation,
Speculation.
And speculation also said that Fashola wants to come out.
We have the former VP.
That's Amechi. We have Atiku. We have all these kind of people. So they became what they became because they were demonized by our structure, political structures. And there is a guarantee that anybody that comes after Buhari, the country will be worse under him too. So it was not because Obasanjo was better than Jonathan, or was because Jonathan was better than Buhari, or was it's not going to be because the person coming in the future of Buhari is going to be better than. No, it's because when your car is bad, you don't repair, it start getting worse. Because our structure has weak institutions. Look at the numbers of good officers that the institution has consumed, the system has consumed. The recent one is Abba Kyari, the Magu, all these public officers. You think they're good, but the weak institution is so porous that there is no how a good police officer will work in Nigeria that he will be compromised. I'm not making argument for them. It's the reality. If you grow, you continue to grow. One public officer who has influenced your promotion will come to you one day. And that's the beginning of the crisis of a public officer. Either as a police officer, as an army officer, as a director in one office, as a permanent secretary somewhere, as That is the genesis of that problem, the overbearing influence of politicians over people's welfare. By time, as long as we are not able to separate it, that politicians should remain politicians, our career officers should remain career officer.
So the candidates for
devolution
the
of power.
2023 election need to
Have
talk
in his
about
mind
restructuring.
restructuring Nigeria. If you don't change,
Well, those are promises
model.
that other administrations have
And
made
those were
and
part of the
never
reason.
kept.
Those were part of the reasons why we're in alliance with APC, the civil society. Because APC was never, PD was never talking about restructuring. It was only APC that was talking about restructuring until this is the party we must be in alliance with. And when we say restructuring, it's like a medication. Someone is sick. It's as important as the medication is as important as it is to Nigeria to restructure. If you don't, and what is restructuring? We're talking about devolution of power. Devolve power. Don't put everything under Abuja. Every money of the country is making, you take it to Abuja. Not wrongly divide it into 36 again. You don't give the governors, you don't compare the state government, give them the liberty to do what they like with the money. Why won't they spend it the way they like? And that's what is responsible for what we have to do. If you don't have vibrant citizens, due respect to the state they all come from, as vibrant as people of Lagos, exactly what in Lagos must have a vibrant governor, we also have vibrant citizens. That's why it's working. So in their own state too, as long as you don't have vibrant people, you continue to witness the kind of thing that we are seeing in Nigeria today. There's no state in the country today that in their state there is no charges of one case of corruption or the other against the current or former governor in the state of the federation. There's none in all the states. It is so because it's cheap money. It's cheap money from Abuja every month. You get money, you get to from Abuja.
They don't use their head to think, conceive ideas, how to generate funds. So
all countries of the world has made free money before in the past. And what you do is you invest it. Britain goes all over the world to start making money, does business in Africa, everywhere, and it brought money back to you. And they invest it. The railway system is working. They are into mining. They are into telecoms. They are into all sorts of. That's what we expected what the government will do in Nigeria too. That there should be an opportunity for all this free money that is coming from oil to invest. But you don't invest.
As we wind up on this topic, you said there's a need for us to take our country back.
Yes.
So that it doesn't continue to slide towards what we don't pray for. But as Nigerians, we only lament, just as you said, we lament and we allow it to go. There is no crime, no matter how big, that will last maybe a week or two of commentaries by Nigerians. There will be bigger one, and Nigerians would, those issues will recede, and other ones will take a front stage. What can Nigerians do to tell our government that, no, this is wrong, we will not take this? These are criminals, so to speak. And unilaterally, you've used your executive power to say that they should be released. What about those who stole 2,000, 1,000 and are rotting away? These decisions probably siphon, divert, pilfer public money has led to so much backwardness, deprivations for Nigerians, health, education, infrastructure, and so many other aspects of our national life are actually begging for serious attention. So what can Nigerians do to actually drive home the point that government should heed their advice?
Well, the point is the kind of impression the younger people are having about the violent revolution is not in vogue again in the world. So why would I be expecting that they should be calling for a revolution? It's not in vogue in any part of the world again. Nobody does that kind of revolt again all over the world. And that's what the Nigerians must catch up with. The idea of Arab uprising is the reality. When we were growing up, we were thinking of such. But today,
what about the option of using their National Assembly representatives?
That's where I'm coming.
That
is where I'm coming. And once we have examined that, this may not be an option again. What we should be looking at is to do. It's no longer bullet. It's our ballot now. And the national consciousness of all Nigerians, not the youth, all of us are into it. It's not only about the old generation. I don't want to agree with the argument that all of us are into it. The nation is engulfed in this crisis. We are immersed in these moral issues. So there should be a national consciousness. And the people concerned more, that's what concerns youth, are the youth. So they should play a frontal role, not in talking, but in taking a decision. Who do we vote in office? The people who have seen that has demonstrated the capacity to take our country forward. If there's somebody that is contesting for presidency in Nigeria today that is still assuring us that you are going to use this motto to navigate our
maybe you should have maybe you should have focused on the Jos. I don't know which senatorial district Dariye is coming out from.
The North Senatorial District.
The Jos North.
Yeah, Jos North.
Of course, it's not only on Jos North.
I'm talking about the pardon Dariye now.
Yes,
it's coming out.
What I'm saying is that.
Would you be surprised if he wins the election?
He will win the election with what has happened. He will? Yes, with what has happened. The country has been taken over by certain institutions that they have their hand in everything, in the security sector, in economy, in every sector. I will not be shocked if he wins that election, and he's likely going to win because of the way he has gotten this pardon. Our institutions do not need the approval of Nigerians before they use it for anything again. So he may win the election that is coming, and that's what I'm saying, that
there are elections may be exercised in futility.
Yes, because the youth may also be jubilating
after the victory of such people.
If that has been released, and this guy came back from Bori came back. There were jubilations that he came back. So there may be jubilation by the youth, and that's why we were saying that it's our decision. It's our decision. If you want our country, we must change our way. If you want it to continue, let it continue. But if you want it, but the best thing is to have our country back. We see countries of the world moving, prospering. Why? What is wrong with us that we are not prospering? So an example must start from Dariye's saying that it must be rejected.
Thank you very much.
All right,
I think
so
that's
the way
we
to
should hang that.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll be transiting immediately to the second topic, which is the insecurity, the resumption of train services. We all know that it's no longer news that the train service between Kaduna and Abuja was attacked last month, and the NRC, that's the Nigerian Railway Corporation, is talking about resuming services. And the families of those who either lost loved ones or cannot even find their loved ones up till now are resisting that step by the federal government. So we'll be looking at that issue briefly this morning. So we have many killed, several injured, and many more unaccountable numbers still missing on this issue of the train attack. So what's your take on that?
What reforms has actually have taken place within Railway Corporation to warrant the resumption, the quick resumption of their services?
Well, it's still the normal Nigerian character of placing everything in the underworld, which is good. But there must be a practical step to support it. As for me, I don't see anything that anything has changed. In the whole of that analysis, I don't see anything that has changed. And what I'm saying is that as long as we continue to use only the Nigerian police to secure Nigeria, the federal police to secure Nigeria, we will continue to have this kind of crisis. The state in the country has a responsibility to make their own contribution in securing Nigeria. You can't take that away from the people. Security is not about the way we are doing it in Nigeria, where you have the IG of police in Abuja and is responsible for the life of 250 million Nigerians. There were arguments that chief the service chiefs, and we want that. I was in your program. I want that. It's not about the service chief. The people who are advocating for change, where are they now? And I said, it's not going to change. What we need to do is to empower Nigerians, give Nigerians some level of access to defend themselves. Let them be able to defend themselves. And the way to do it is to allow for state police. Look at the frustration Amotekun has gone through now.
Now what?
Amotekun has gone through now. They've been frustrated. They are not operating in the full-fledged way they intend to operate. And see what is happening here now. As rickety as they are now in the southwest, they are doing their best. But if they had been given the right and the proper support, we won't be where we are today. Rufai should not be talking a government is talking about machinery of 250 million Nigerians, and he has a state that's around 10 million population, 10 million number in population. You cannot pick a million of your youth, train them to secure your state. There's nothing legitimate about that. As long as we think that this security structure can protect and secure Nigeria, so long we are going to be getting it wrong. The people must be empowered. The people, we have to take our country back, because the unorganized, we are the measure of organized. The bandits, kidnappers are organized. So we must organize our own people too. You must, okay, as weak as America as a country is, they realize that this is a population of over 200 million as at that time. A single security institution may not be able to secure the entire population. And they break it down into layers. So there are different layers of security to augment what the federal police is doing, the FBI and the CIA is doing. So I don't know why Nigerians, government and public officials still think that this strange method will get to a point where it's going to work. There's no point we'll get to in Nigeria that it's going to work. They're buying more vehicles for them. It's not because there was not enough bullet and gun in the hands of our police that led to it. It's not because they were nowhere trained. No. A pilot is trained to drive aeroplane. He's not trained to drive tricycle. And that's the level the federal police is. They have sophisticated the training they got. It's not to settle rift between husband and wife in Ikeja. It's not to settle it between Danlad and something in Sokoto. It's not. It's for higher responsibility, higher security engagement. But the ones that are peculiar to your state, for instance, take roadblock for instance. IG will be in Abuja and say that there's no roadblock in Nigeria again. It's wrong. Such security measure should be left to the purview of the state to decide. There are states in Nigeria that needs a roadblock. There are states that you want to cause people, for instance in Lagos now. If you put too much road, there's no free flow of traffic in Lagos. Of 25 million people, you can't be putting roadblocks everywhere in the state. So you must define their own peculiar model, which is what Lagos has done. Lagos has seen the feature. There's Sky, there's Last Mile, there's all sorts of. These are all security operatives too. That the federal government must learn from, that allow state to do this. Between Kaduna, Abuja to Kaduna, there is nobody that has secured better than the indigenous of Kaduna State. There is no people, there's no army, there's no police, there's no civil defense. You are just wasting the life of our young men.
All right, sir.
We are supposed to be doing something bigger, something more serious for the nation.
All right, because of time, sir, we just have a few more minutes. Let's look at the morality of this. Talk about opening the train services. You know, last week, families of the people who died or are still missing, I had a press conference where they are insisting that government should come to their aid, meaning that government is not attending to them, government is not giving them any form of reassurance, government is not saying, okay, we'll negotiate with the kidnappers or whatever. These people are left on their own. Do you think, number one, morally, government is right to take that stance? And then should they too be saying, if you don't attend to us, we cannot open this?
There are several angles to one. It's PPP. The train service is PPP.
Yeah.
The money must be returned back to who gave
To those who invested money.
Yeah.
invested money. So they will also be in a hurry.
Okay.
Security is not their concern. Their investment is their concern.
Business.
Because in business, the reckoning, there's no morality. The reckoning decimal is profit. There's that angle to that we must also consider. One. Two is that government has so many in its hands. It's attending to COVID-19. He's talking about buying kidnappers in some way, and the families are here talking. And that's what we're saying, that if the president has too much in his hand, he can't be an expert in any of the assignments that he's handling. He has his hand in so many things. He's the one responsible for so many things. That's why he's responsible for everything. As long as you have this kind of scenario, political model in place, we can continue to have situations like this where Nigeria will deserve attention and not get that attention. Because, in fairness, the families must pay attention to. We must do something for them. Not monetary compensation, At least there must be some level of placation. There are people whose family has not been found to do, either dead or alive, they have not had anything about them again. So there should be a section of our country that should be talking about it. Train service of this nature should be between the Abuja, whatever they call them, state, and Kaduna. There should be an engagement. Just like what the Southwestern Nigeria is trying to do, that the Southwest want to have common railway system, common system of education, where Oyo, Ondo, Ogun will have common railway system. If you structure Nigeria, that's what the picture we are going to have. Now, too, federal government will have removed the body if the state had been allowed to run train service themselves. Kaduna and Abuja is going to be a train network that's going to be trained, and they will secure it. Federal government can't pay attention to all those small issues of security challenges and issues like that. They don't have that time, and that's why they should not be involved in certain things. So areas where there are security challenges, they don't know. Federal government, they are in Abuja, they are attending. The pirates in the IC of Somalia now, if they kidnap set of people and you are in Nigeria, they will kill him because no hostage value. They call our people, they call a meeting. I'm in a meeting, sir. We have a national here. And he said, I'm in a meeting, you call me back. I can't tell the kidnapper that he should call you back. When you should be expecting his call. And that is it. And truly, it's truly busy. And that's the kind of picture we have in Nigeria about our public office holders. So it's a sad situation. So the earlier we pay attention, and my colleagues who comes to TV every day, who see things that we should be hammering that this dead us should work. They are also wrong. What our attention should be focused on is the model that led us into this. The economic model that did not allow our youth to be gainfully employed should be looked into. The Sam Aluko, who felt that there's a rocket science in spending money. There's no rocket science in spending money. It's up to generate money that deserve a rocket science. To design this economic model, rely on oil. Oil money finishes, start taking low. And you expect our youth to be gainfully employed. And you expect that 70 million youth of employment is not employed, and you have security challenges. You have security challenges. So, in summary, what you are saying in summary is that in unison, we must begin to call for a political remodeling of our structure. The economic model, we have to start to talk about the modeling, talk about the devolution of power. Election is fast approaching. Why are we excited about thinking that this structure will work? We want candidates, some of the candidates start talking about the structures. That, are you going to use this structure to rule Nigeria? And if there's any candidate that is talking about how you go to restructure Nigeria, we should pay attention to such, either in the north or in the south.
All right, thank you so much for dealing so well with the two topics this morning. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's our program this morning. So we leave you with the fact that you must enjoy the remaining few hours you have of the holiday. Make sure you sleep, rest well, and then bond with your family. My name is Jumoke Michael. See you again on Wednesday for our midweek edition. Bye-bye.
Well, as you take your family out, I just want to implore you to think safety. Yes, safety is key, especially during this time. Have the best of Easter Monday. Bye-bye.
This is your radio. This is your radio.
Star FM 101.5 gives you the best of music, news, talk, entertainment, and sports like never before. We give you incisive news every hour, quality music, and sports all day round. Listen to the most entertaining, creative morning show on radio as Star FM gives you top newspaper review, headlines about politics, business, crime, events, and entertainment stories between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. daily. Our midday show gives you classic, up-tempo, and contemporary urban music to start your day and get you energized. Between 10 to 12 noon daily, we serve it fresh. Now, take your lunch with us on Lunch Hour Show between 12 noon and 2 p.m. as we pack you with good mix of music loaded with interactive live chart, comedy, game shows, and current events. Our Word of Sports on Star FM comes on daily at the 5 o'clock hour, 6 o'clock hour, and 10 o'clock hour. Daily on Star. Our Evening Belt showcase a mix of urban music, oldies laced with big jokes, talent hunt shows, and relationships. You don't want to miss is the PM Crew. And round up your day with us on Body and Soul, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily with the very best of rhythm and blues, cool music to take you to Wonderland. Join us daily as we give you the very best of music, news, sports, talk, and all-round entertainment. Star FM 101.5, entertaining you all the time. Star FM, your favorite radio station. Star FM on DSTV 869.
Marhaba bika ya Ramadan. Welcome, the month of forgiveness. As a foremost broadcasting house that promotes Islamic values, MITV Star FM 101.5 has packed a series of thought-provoking, source-inspiring, classical and educative Islamic program in commemorating this year Ramadan, such as pre-dawn Ramadan Tafsir from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., Ramadan Talk, quiz competition, Tarawih live from Holy Kaaba, call to prayer, and a lot more for your spiritual upliftment during the holy month. We are imploring Islamic societies, Muslim organizations, corporate bodies, and individuals to advertise their goods and services at affordable costs. For details, contact 003-300-4531 or 00-3515-8736 and 002-928-0721. Ramadan Kareem.